Madonna, let me be the first to officially welcome you to the Challenge family. It's truly an honor for our sport and our community and for Challenge to have you join us in 2013 right here in Penticton, Canada for our inaugural race. You know, at 82 years old, you've completed 325 triathlons.
No, more than that.
More than that?
Way more than that.
Oh my goodness.
That's old news.
Oh, is it?
Can't keep up with the present moment.
How many are we at now, Sister Madonna?
At least 355, if not more.
Goodness.
And that's not counting the Ironman distances.
Oh, it doesn't count that. So
I've been about 45 Ironman distances.
Wow.
That doesn't mean I've completed all of them for the last couple of years. It's getting a little bit more difficult.
Yes.
And so much depends on the weather anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfect weather on August the 26th recently for the Canadian Ironman.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was able to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really blessed us that day.
At which time you set a world record, didn't you, for being the...
I was only concentrating on trying to open the woman's 80 plus. I didn't even think world business.
Right.
Somebody mentioned, well, you just made a world record. I said, what? And then I got thinking, oh, well, yeah, I guess nobody else at age has done it yet. And somebody else said, well, that record's never going to get broken. So we shall see.
Well, congratulations on that. How did it feel when you crossed the finish line? I
just felt so fulfilled because I had been trying for 3 years to open that age group. Mm-hmm. And there was always some little interference that kept me from getting the job done. So this year I said to the Lord, okay, 3 times is the charm, or 3 strikes, and I'm out.
So this was your last time.
Perfect weather.
Oh.
We now have a perfect storm, but that was the perfect weather that day.
Fantastic. And you know, Steve King, I'm not sure if you are aware, but he's returning to Challenge Penticton next year to announce the finishers across the line, which is really exciting for us. But he once said about you that when you're competing, with the youngest person being 18 in the race, there's almost a 64-year age gap between the youngest and the oldest. So from the perspective that you not only inspire women, but you also inspire men of all ages when they aspire to complete an iron distance race. So with you inspiring so many people, the question that we have for you is who or what inspires you to just keep on going?
Well, you know, this is why. They keep me going. Because I would have quit this foolishness quite some time ago. But when people keep coming up and saying, you're such an inspiration, you're such an inspiration. At some of these major races, I get to go 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I'm stopped for book signing or autographing, what have you.
Yes.
And pictures. So I thought, okay, if this is the way you want to use me, Lord, that's okay with me. I don't understand why I'm an inspiration. I don't get it, but I don't have to get it. I'm just following what he apparently wants me to do. Mm-hmm. As long as he gives me the wherewith to do it, I don't feel like pulling up the stops.
Well, good for you, and we thank you for that because you know it's amazing that you can touch so many people, all different ages, whether they're athletes or not athletes, especially in the community of Penticton. As I mentioned before, that you truly do inspire everybody here. So we're thankful for that.
I find the Canadians just so welcoming and so enthusiastic that's one of the reasons I welcome the opportunity to come back to Penticton because they're family to me.
Oh,
they really are.
Well, thank you.
One year when I had gotten a broken arm, I get these little things occasionally. I've been chipped apart like a Dresden doll, but I came up to volunteer with my arm in a cast, and that was really fun. I I covered the gamut and felt like I'd done the whole event by the end of the day.
Right.
But being so close, I can actually get up there driving in about 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably continue to want to come up and be available to help out, if not to do the event, as long as I'm able to drive a car.
Well, that's wonderful, because when you're not competing, we sure would love to have you as a volunteer, helping us up here. So, you know, we have been told in Penticton that we have the best volunteers of any race, and as a competitor,
Attitude that draws us there.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that makes it so unique from from an athlete's perspective?
Well, your openness, for one thing, you're just very, very welcoming, and you have a zest for life, and you're willing to share that and to give of yourselves, and it's just very genuine. And nothing fakey about you Canadians. You are, and I love it.
Thank you for that. Now, is it true that you started running at the age of 55, or
I think I was 52 for my
52?
first time.
Wow. And then you started your first iron distance race was
that was when I was 50.
when you were 55. So you've been involved in the triathlon community for over 25 years. Do you think that there's a single common thread between all of you endurance triathletes? Is it, you must have minds of steel, or I'm not sure what it is, but do you think there's something in common with all of you?
Well, not everybody that does an Ironman wants to come back and do it again. I promise you. And there are probably very few that keep coming and coming and coming, but it's just become a way of life for me. Now it's a way of life that's a little bit more of a struggle than it used to be.
Right.
But still, that's life. And the Ironman is, encapsulates life. Mm-hmm. It's a very condensed version. You go through the gamut of emotions. You've got all day to get all these different feelings in and out of your system. So it's an encapsulated, abbreviated lifespan, actually.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about the struggling more now, is that just simply the wear and tear on your body? I mean, how do you overcome injury at your age? Do you suffer from injury?
Oh, well, I don't get injuries from training for the most part because that is so minimal. My training is functional. Like this morning, I ran to Mass and back, and ran across campus where I parked the car to get here too. So it's just functional. I'm moving, and come to think of it, it's also a prayer form. Because when you're out there for long hours at a time, you can't ignore your Creator. And that's one of the reasons that really, really draws me, because I love to be out in nature. Mm-hmm. And in Penticton in particular, you're surrounded with such beauty that you really can't ignore your Creator and who would want to in the first place. Mm-hmm. So it keeps you really focused and in contact with your Maker, and full of gratitude that He's given you the strength to go through with something like this. Mm-hmm. You can offer up the different segments for different people that come to mind.
Right.
So it's definitely a prayer form.
Mm-hmm. And I seem to remember that there was one that sometimes you chant as well too, and other people have heard that it inspires them as well, which is wonderful. It's sort of to keep your rhythm. That's what you do, which I think is really amazing. I heard one story about how somebody asked you what that was, and you wrote it on the back of their race number.
Well, he was struggling. He was running in front of me, and I could see how he was struggling. This was a half Ironman distance in Florida, and I had been chanting this to myself. And then I thought, well, as I pass him, I'm going to just say this out loud to give him a little encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. And then he kind of picked up the pace. And toward the end, he made a surge and crossed the finish line before I did, and stood there and waited for me to finish so he could hand me his number and have me put that little chant on the back. It was, praise the Lord, bless his holy name. Praise the Lord, bless his holy name. And as far as I know, he's still chanting that.
That's wonderful. What a great story. I asked our Facebook community of Challenge Penticton and challengers, that I mentioned to them that we were going to be doing our interview this week, and asked if they had any questions for you. And of course, they wanted to know all about your training regime each week, which now you've, enlightened us that there isn't really a training program, and that you really are just in a constant state of motion, it sounds like, which is wonderful. And they also wanted to know, do you take any, from the nutrition side, is there anything special that you do on the nutrition side before your race, or while you're training?
Differently before or after. Well, I cut down on the coffee because I don't need to be making unnecessary pit stops. But that's about the only thing. But I eat not a whole lot, but I do take supplements.
You do?
I try mostly to get raw vegetables and raw fruit. Mm-hmm. Because actually it cuts down on the cooking time too. You've got more vitamins in the rawness.
Right, absolutely. So, Challenge Penticton is a not-for-profit society. I'm not sure if you know that now, but we're made up of mostly volunteers, including myself. And
that's wonderful.
Thank you. All of our profits from our race are going back into the community, into specifically sport-related charities as well. So that's the heart behind Challenge Penticton, and we're really building this race for the athletes. So for you and for all the athletes that inspire us through their achievement. And our goal is to really bring the focus of the race back onto the athlete, their supporters as well, because we know that behind every athlete is a great team of supporters, and to bring it back to the community. So from your perspective, Sister Madonna, from coming up here and racing in Penticton for, I think this will be your 24th year, do you have any words of wisdom for us, or any advice of things that we could do for you, for the athlete, or do better?
He said it. When the Canadian Ironman belonged to the Canadians, it had everything. It had elegance. It had the feel for the triathletes, graciousness. You had sit-down serving at the banquets, both the carbo and the welcoming dinner, as they call it now, and the awards dinner. And they had traveling trophies that were so much fun. And the elegant gifts, like this, I'm actually wearing the Subaru jacket that were given to the first place winners. They're I've been wearing it as a uniform for the past month, I think, because it's just right for this kind of weather we're experiencing.
Right.
And wore it biking yesterday when I actually got back on my bike. I haven't been on it since the Hawaiian Ironman, which was the 13th of October. So that's a while, because I've been trying to concentrate on doing what little running I can to get myself prepared for the New York Marathon, which, as we know, didn't take place.
Just canceled.
Yes. So anyway, it's the attitude of the Canadians that really draws us, because we are respected as persons of endurance.
Mm-hmm.
And with this corporation that's taken over, the Ironman has become an epidemic. And so what's different about it? If you can do an Ironman here and an Ironman there, so what's so special?
Mm-hmm.
It's just athletes have been turned into a commodity for business. And that does not give us the feeling that you Canadians gave us when you had it as your own. And it seems now that with your attitude, you're going to come back and give it to the Canadians as once before. And it will flourish, believe me.
Well, thank you for that, and your support means the world to us, and that perspective of bringing the heart back to triathlon, and that the athletes aren't just a number, comes straight from Challenge in Germany, and the founders of that they're a family-owned business with two siblings, Catherine and Felix. They're 30 and 32 that run the races, and you met Felix. He has heart, and
oh, does he ever?
Mm-hmm. And we will all be cheering your team on, as well as everybody else that comes to Challenge Penticton. But we very much look forward to welcoming your entire relay team. And
Lynch lives in Vancouver, by the way.
Wonderful,
You can tell her hi for me.
Oh yes, absolutely. Well, Sister Madonna, I'd like to just once again say thank you for supporting us, and how much we look forward to welcoming you to Penticton, and thank you for continuing to inspire so many people. And it's been a true honor to spend the last few minutes talking with you. I appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you, Diana. And thank the man upstairs for giving me the you-know-what to go with it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sister Madonna.
Yes.